Hello guys, so welcome back. So this is the lecture 3 of this Python series. So in this lecture we are going to learn what is conditional statements. This is the part 1 of this topic. So we'll do the part 2 of this topic in the next lecture. So in this lecture we are going to learn all these concepts, that is simple if else, if elif else. You can find this keyword, that is elif. This is new to you because this is not present in Java or C++. Then we will also look into nested if else, if elif, and nested if elif and else. So first topic, I have not mentioned this topic in this. This is very important and actually, and this is that all about indentation. So this is very important because Python is all about indentation only. If you don't know how to indent any particular code block, then there is no use of learning Python. So firstly, we will just demonstrate a code, then I will explain you what actually indentation is. Let's say I want to print hello world. What I do is I can write here, right? I can write directly here print hello world. Let's say if I run the code, you can see the output here, hello world. It is displaying hello world and there is no error in this line. If I do the same thing, but I just gave a two space front in front of this print statement, I just run the code again. See, you can see the result here, but you can see the underline, red underline here. Just hover on this, you will get what is the error is. Unexpected indentation. What is indentation? The indentation is the space which is given or which have been left in front of this print function. So unnecessarily, you are not allowed to give any space in the Python. Okay, Python coding. Oh, we will correct this. Then we will move on to another demonstration. Let's say I want to print if given number is 5, then print S. The given number is not 5, then print no. Let's say this is a simple code of if else. Let's say if I will initialize n here, n is equals to 5. Let's say I have given n is equals to 5. If n is 5, what will do? Print S, else print no. I have not taught you the if else conditions. I will taught the thing in the same video itself. So what I will do is I will just run this code. You can see hello world and yes, why yes? Because n is equals to 5, so s is printing. Let's say I just remove the space from the print function before the print function. Now what is actually displaying? Expected indented block. So it is expecting to indent this particular function block. So I will give one indentation, that is one tab space, and I will give one more tab space. Now the error is gone, right? So you are required to give some indentations in this particular Python. If you are in Java, what you are doing, you will just use these brackets and you write whatever the code is present in the present inside these brackets, right? So here, but in Python, you don't use any brackets. You use all about is what Python indentation. So you have to provide space before the functions you are going to use. Okay, we are done with what? Indentation. I will plot the indentation in the same video again and again whenever that is necessary. Okay, we will move on to what? Simple if. So we all know in Java and C++, we have already learned this, that is simple if. What is simple if? You are only having only one condition. If that condition is true, just perform that task. Okay, if a condition is true, just perform. If condition is false, don't do anything. That's it. You can see here I have initialized n with 20 and I am modding n with a 2. Why? I want to check that whether this number is divisible by 2 completely. Completely means what? Whenever you divide that number with a 2, you should get reminder 0. No, without any another integer. So that is called as completely divisible by particular number, that is 2. So if this particular n value is divisible by 2 completely, then this result will be equals to what? 0, right? So 0 is equals to 0 what? True. Because left hand and right hand side both are equal, then this condition will return, this equal operator will return what? True, right? So if true, perform this operation. We have written anything for false operation, false condition. If this got false, we don't do anything, we don't print anything. If I run the code, we will get yes. Why? Because n is 20 and 20 mod 2 is what? 20 mod 2 is 0, right? 20 is divisible by 2 completely. So it will print s. If I put 21 here, is 21 divisible by 2 completely? No, right? So 21 will give a reminder of 1. So here you will get what? 1. Is 1 is equals to 0? No, right? Just this is what? False. If false, will this getting to perform? No, right? So if this is true, then only it will enter this block and it will print whatever the thing present in this particular block, if block. If this is false, it will just, the control will just move on to this next line of this particular if statement. So nothing will be printed if condition is false in simple if statement. So this is what simple if. You have only one condition to check. If that condition is true, just do some task. If and if that condition is false, just keep quiet. That's it. You have only one condition in simple if you have one condition. Let's say you may have another condition like if and n mod 4 is equals to 0. This is what? This is not and this is and. If n is divisible by 2 as well as n is divisible by 4, you have only one option here, that is you have to print true if this condition is true. You don't have any option for print false, right? Don't have any conditions to print false. So you are using only simple if for this particular thing. We'll move on to this solving this problem, that is write a program to check whether a user entered number is divisible by 7. So how will you check whether a number is divisible by 7 completely? Definitely you will use mod operator, right? So if number is divisible by 7, let's say we will prompt the user to read n, that is we will convert directly here only, input enter a number. Let's say what is this actually doing? This is typecasting. So by default, Python will give what? String format input. So that string is converting into int and it is storing into n. I've done this completely in the first video. Please, if you not watched that video, go and watch the video. Then you will come back and watch this video. So now we will check if n mod 7. Why n mod 7? Because we are going to find the remainder, right? So if a number n is divisible by 7 completely, then n mod 7 will be completely 0. So if it is 0, what we have to print? Print S, that's it. If a number n is divisible by 7 completely, then it will print S. We don't do any other tasks. Simple, this is simple if. If only one condition, if it is true, print this. If it is false, simply keep quiet. That's it. So if we run this, what we will get? It is asking us to enter a number. Let's say I will enter 34. So it has not returned any in output. Why? Because 34 is not divisible by 7 completely. If I run this again, if I put 28, what will be the result? S. Why S? Because 28 is divisible by 7 completely. That's it. So we'll move on to what? If and else. So here you have two options. Either you can print S, either you can print no. Either you can do one thing if the condition is true. If the condition is false, do another thing. You have two tasks to be done, and you have only one condition, or you may have two or more conditions as well. Let's say what we will do now is, let's say we will prompt a number from the user, n is equals to, we'll directly typecast here itself, input, enter a number. What we will do now is, if the number is greater than 0, we will print positive, else we will print what? Definitely else we will print negative, right? So if n is greater than 0, what we will print? Print positive. If this is got false, means n is not greater than 0, then what is the option? N may equals to 0 and n may be less than 0, right? So what we will do is, else we will just simply print negative or neutral. Why neutral? Because it may equals to 0, right? It may be equals to 0 means, if n is not greater than 0 means it may equals to 0 or it may be less than 0, right? So we will print what? It may be negative or neutral. That's it, guys. Here you have two tasks to be done. That is, either we have to print positive, either we have to print negative or neutral. We have only one condition, because we can use also two or three conditions as well. But here, let's, for our understanding, we will keep it simple as it is. If we run this, here, let's say I will put some huge number 3423. Definitely this is positive, right? If I again run this, if I put a 0, then it is getting negative or neutral. That is 0 is neutral, right? Then if I run this again, and if I put any negative number, now it will again give what? Negative or neutral, because this is negative. Okay, we will move on to the next problem. We have a problem like write a program to check whether a person is eligible for voting or not. So definitely we all know that for voting purpose, what is the age limit? Age limit is greater than or equals to 18. Let's say age will be entered by the user. Let's say age is equals to int of input, what? Enter your age. Let's say we are asking for the user itself, enter your age. Then what we have to perform? we have to check whether if age is greater than equals to 18, what we have to print? You are eligible for voting, right? If it is not, age is less than 18. If age is what? Less than 18, what we have to print? You are not eligible for voting, right? That's it. Here you can see we have prompting user for entering an age. Then we are checking if age is greater than or equals to 18, do this. If it is not, then do this. We have again two tasks here. Either you have to print this statement, either you have to print this statement. Right, we will put 18 itself. What it will print? It will print this one, right? Because 18 is greater than or equals, means 18 is equals 18. So it will print you are eligible for voting. If I again will check for other input as well. Let's say the input is 2-year child. You are not eligible for voting. Of course, 2-year child can't do this coding. For our convenience, we are taking this as simple. Okay, we will move on to another question, that is write a program to print hello if a user entered number is divisible by multiple of 5, else print by. Okay, so this is not divisible by 5, this is divisible by multiple of 5. Definitely, if I ask you, if a number is divisible by multiple of 5, then that number is divisible by 5. Is that correct? See, if a number is divisible by multiple of 5 means definitely that number is divisible by 5. Is this true? Right? This is correct, right? So what we have to check here? Same, that is it is divisible by 5, then print hello. If it is not divisible by 5, then print by. That's it, right? So if, let's say we'll prompt for a user, n is equals to int for input, enter a number. Here we will read an input number n and we will convert it into integer type, then we will store in the in n. Then what we have to do? We have to check if n is divisible by 5, what we have to print? Print hello, right? We'll print hello. Then if it is not divisible by 5, then what we have to print? We have to print by. Now we will execute this. So it is asking for a number, let's say 90. What it will return? Hello. Why? Because 90 is divisible by 5. If I again execute this, I will put something like 34. It is giving us what? By. Why by? Because 34 is not divisible by 5. Here you can see that if a number is divisible by multiple of 5 means definitely that number is divisible by 5. This is true. Exactly right. So that is, this question is based on this simple logic. You have to understand the question correctly. We will move on to what? If elif ladder. So in this, what we have to learn is, here you have multiple tasks. You may have more than 2 tasks. That is, if you have 2 tasks, you will use simple if and else. If you have 3 tasks, what you will use? You will use if elif ladder. Let's say we will take this example itself. That is positive, negative, and neutral. We have 3 tasks to be done, right? Means 3 strings to be written. Either it should be positive, either it should be negative, either it should be neutral, right? So what we will do is, we will read a number from user, that is input, enter a number, and what we will do is, we will check whether this number is equals to 0 or greater than 0 or less than 0. See, if n is equals to 0, what it will print? Will print neutral. If n is not equals to 0, else if n is less than 0, what we have to print? We have to print if n is less than 0 means negative, right? Negative. Else print if n is not equals to 0 and n is also not less than 0. Definitely n is greater than 0, right? By the control reached else block, the condition is what? N is not equals to 0 and n is also not less than 0. Then definitely n is greater than 0, right? What we have to print for n greater than 0? We have to print positive, right? So if I run the code, if I enter 1, it will return positive. If I again run the code, if I enter my negative value, then it will return negative. If I run the code and if I enter 0, it will return neutral. Why neutral? Because 0 is equals to 0, which is neutral. So this is what else if ladder, that is, you have greater than or more than 2 things to be done here, more than two things to be done. That is, either you have to print neutral, either you have to print negative or positive. So three things are there. In all these three, only one should be executed. See, in this, not all the conditions should be executed. All the conditions won't be executed. Only one among these will be getting executed. Either the condition may get true here. If this got true, it will print this particular function and the control will directly move on to what? After the else block here. You can see here the control will be directly move on from this to this. If the condition is false, it will move from this condition to this elif condition. Then again it will check for this condition. If this condition is also false, then it will move on to what? Else block. Then it will directly execute it. It won't check for any conditions. If these two conditions are false, then definitely this condition will be getting executed. No, nothing conditions are required for this. Okay, so this is what simple elif ladder. Then we'll solve this problem, that is, write a program to calculate electricity bill accept number of units from user according to the following criteria. Okay, so we have to input, we have to prompt user to enter in what? The number of units electricity consumed. Okay, so then we have to do this according to the following criteria. Okay, so first 100 units is what? No charge. Then next 100 units is 5 rupees per unit. Okay, then 200 per unit. After 200 units, rupees 10 per unit. 350, then total amount is rupees 2000. Okay, let's take this example and we'll perform first. So we have 350 units, right? So 350 units, we have 350 units. Let's divide this into 100, 100, 100 and 50. So here what they are telling is, for the first 100 no charge, means what we have for the first 100 0 rupees, right? For the first 100 0 rupees, and for the next 100 what? For the next 100 5 per unit. Okay, so see, you have 100 units here and you have 5 rupees per unit. See, this is 100 units and 5 rupees per unit means, then for 100 units what will be the value? Definitely 100 into 5, right? Per unit it is 5 rupees and you have 100 units here, then 100 into 5 will be the result, right? It's the price. Then again, then after 200 units, the rupees will be what? 10 per unit. So you have done with 200 units and you are left out with what? This money. Let's write this together. That is 150 we are left with. Then for this particular amount, whatever the left amount will be there, for that particular amount, 10 rupees will be per unit. So here we have 150 unit and per unit it is 10 rupees. Then what will be the price? 150 into 10, right? Because 10 per unit and we have 150 units, then 150 unit into 10 what? The total price of all the 150 units. Okay, then what we have to do this? We have to add this, right? Why we have to add this? According to the criteria, they are told like first 100 units no charge. Don't charge for the first 100 units they have consumed. Then for the next 100 units, charge 5 rupees per unit. Then after 200 units, if they consumed electricity, then charge 10 rupees per unit. So according to this is how we are going to calculate. Okay, what we will do now is we will just ask user to enter units. Units is equals to enter the total units. Okay, then the user will enter an unit. Then we have to check what? We have to check if units is less than equals 100. If it is less than equals 100, what will be the bill? Let's say we will take a bill to store the cost. Okay, let's say we will take cost itself. Cost will be what? Because units is less than equals to 0, then cost will be definitely 0. If not, if let's say units is greater than 100 and units is less than equals to 200. Why this is? This condition is for what? This condition is for second, that is next 100 units, rupees 5 per unit. Because if the amount entered units is less than 100, no charge will be charged, so cost will be 0. We will return directly 0. If the units is lying between the 100 and 200, let's say we will take 150 rupees, sorry, 150 units, then what we have to do? In that 150 units, first 100 should be what? No charge, right? So we have to deduct that 100, then we have to perform for the remaining units the 5 per unit multiplication. So what we will do now is we will just, let's say the cost will be cost, right? Cost. Then what we have to perform? In units we have to minus 100, right? Why 100? Because this 100 is of no charge. Why no charge? they have told like first 100 units will be no charge. So we'll deduct minus 100. Then what the remaining is, we will just multiply this with the what? For the next 100, what will be the price? 5 rupees per unit. We will just multiply this with 5. This will be the cost. Let's say the cost, sorry, the units is not lying between 0 and 200. It is going above 200. What we have to do? If it is going above 200, for the first 100, again, no charge. Then for the second 100, we have to charge 5 rupees per unit. Then again, the left out amount will be charged with 10 rupees per unit. Then here in the else block, what we have to do is, again, do cost is 0 for what? First 100 units, right? 0 for first 100 units. We have done with first 100 units. Then for the next 100 units, what will be the result? Result will be what? Result will be 5 rupees per unit. Now, after completing this 200, if let's say we have 500 units, let's say I will write here, we have 500 units. In this 500 units, we have calculated for first 100 units and second 100 units. How first 100? First 100 units rupees will be 0 and the next 100 rupees will be 5. Now, what will be the remaining? Remaining will be first 100 and second 100 minus, right? That is, if you add this, we will get 200. Then 500 minus 200, that is 300 is remaining, right? So, for that 300, what we have to perform? We have to perform 10 rupees per unit. So, we will just multiply this with what? Multiply this with 10. I think you can understood from here. So for first 100 rupee, first 100 units, the price is 0 or the charge is 0. Then for the next 100, charge is 5. Then the remaining means what is this is not 300, actually this is units minus what? 200. Why units minus 200? Because here we have completed for the 200, right? First 100 is 0, second 100 is with multiply 5, and then the remaining amount which is negated for from the units is 10 multiplied with 10. Now at the end of this loop, we will be getting the cost as, let's say we'll print the cost here, cost. So if I run this, if I enter 100, what will be the change? What will be the cost? Definitely you can see here, if it is less than equals to 100, cost will be 0, right? If I enter this, you can see the cost is 0. If I again enter this and if I put 150, sorry, 150, what will be the result? What will be the cost? For the first 100, the cost is 0, right? Then for the next 100, what will be the cost? Next 100 is 5 rupees. But we don't have any next 100 here. We have next 50. Just do this 50 with this multiplication 5 and just add with the existing cost. What is existing cost? 0, right? If we done this, what is 5 into 50? 250. So the cost will be what? If I enter 150 here, 250. Why 250? First 100 is of 0 rupees, then next we have 50 rupees, right? Sorry, 50 units. That 50 units is multiplied with what? 5, then the result will be 250. If I run this again and the cost is, let's say, beyond 200, then how much we have to charge for 200 greater than 200? 10 per unit. But in this, we have to deduct what? First 100 for no cost and the second 100 for only 5 rupees. Then the remaining thing will be multiplied with 10. So if I run this, we will get 2500. So you can just go through this and understand, try to understand the logic here. Okay, now we will move on to what? Nested if else. Okay, what is nested if else? So actually what actually nested if else is using if else within the if else. Okay, you can use within nested if within if, or you can use if within if else, or you can use if else within a single if. You can perform n more if else conditions here. Let's say I will give a simple demonstration here. Let's say we have to check whether a number is divisible by 5 as well as it is divisible by 10. Let's say n is equals to 100. I will directly take the number. Then now I have to check if n is divisible by 5. Okay. If it is divisible by 5, then check again if n is divisible by 10. If it is divisible by both this number, print s. Okay. So if n is not divisible by 5 means what? If it is not divisible by 5, directly what we have to print? We have to print no. Why no? See, we have to check whether the number is divisible by both 5 and 10, but the condition is getting false here itself. Then definitely this number is not divisible by 5. So then hence we will write what? We will print no. If again here we have one more condition, if n is divisible by 10, then only it will print s. If it is not divisible by 10, then what is the result? If it is not divisible by 10, definitely it is also no, right? Why no? See, n is divisible by 5, that is true, but n is not divisible by 10, then this will print no. That is the case here. Let's say if I type 15, 15 is divisible by 5 completely. So this condition is true and get inside into this nested if block. Again, it is checking for is n mod 10 is 0. Will be 0? No, right? Because 15 mod 10 is what? Remainder will be 5. So this will not get executed. Then this will got executed. No block. Why no? Because this number is not divisible by both 5 and 10. If it is divisible by both 5 and 10, then only this else block will be executed. So this is a simple demonstration of nested if else. We will solve this problem. We will understand again. So write a program to check whether a year is a leap year or not. Okay, for a year to be leap year, the year should be divisible by both 100 and 400 completely, or the year should be divided by 4 completely. So here we have two conditions here, right? So let's say n is equals to 2024. Let's say we'll take this current year only. So what they are asking, if it is divisible by 100 and 400 completely, both this 100 and 400, we'll check this n mod 100 is equals to 0. If it is divisible by 0 completely, so divisible by 100 completely, and again, if n mod 400 divisible by 400 completely, if it is divisible by both this 100 and 400, then what will be the year? Year will be leap year, right? Else we will print what? Not a leap year. Again, we have one more condition here, that is year should be either it should be this thing, it should be divisible by both 100 and 400, else one more condition is given here, that is the year should be divisible by 4 completely, else we have to check again for if n is divisible by 4 completely, print what? Leap year, else print not a leap year, right? So see, if the number is divisible by 100 and 400, then it is leap year. Here you can see, if this is true and again this is true, it will perform this. If this is true, n mod 100 is 0, but this is not true, then else block will get executed, that is not a leap year. Again, if this itself is false, directly it will, the control will move on to this else condition. Again, it will check for is this n divisible by 4. If this is true, leap year. If it is not true, then not a leap year. That's it, guys. This is how we have to solve the problem regarding this leap year. Okay, we will move into the past statement. So this is very simple, guys. If we want to leave any functions empty, we don't want to perform any operation, but we have defined a function. Let's say we will define diff add, and we have just remained left this as empty. Here we will using something like hello. If I execute this, we will get an error. Let's see that error. Expected an indented block after function definition. See, the code is asking to indent this thing. Indent this thing. Which thing? This print function. Why? Because after defining a function, whatever the thing we have write, that should be indented for one tab space. But we know this, we are not by our own, we don't want to write this thing of code inside this function. We have written this separately. Okay, inside this function we want to leave this empty, leave the thing empty. See, there it is displaying this error. In order to come out of this error, what we will do is we will just take a pass statement here. If I put a pass statement here and if I execute this, we don't see any error. It will get executed in a smooth manner, and this function is just skipped. Okay, it won't ask for any indentation, something like this. So this is where pass can be used, and there are some more other options as well in where we can use pass statement. Just go and browse on this topic and learn more. Okay guys, this much is for this video. We will solve much more questions and we will learn much more topics in the upcoming video. So till then, take care. Bye bye.